Right away, I want to thank you all for 5,000 subscribers. That's an incredible number, but even more incredible to me still is just the fact that people are enjoying what I make. Now, not only did the channel just hit 5K subscribers, it's also 3 years old. This Friday, the 26th, marks 3 years since I started making regular videos on YouTube. The carbon paper video was uploaded March 26, 2018. So whether you've been a longtime subscriber, a commenter, or just passing through, thank you for being a part of it. Hi, I am Nicky Clements, and I used to make stuff like this. Since 2013, Lisa has gotten me. Hey. Since 2013, Lisa has gotten me a South Park year-in-a-box calendar. Unfortunately, this year, that was no longer an option. While it does appear that one was actually produced for 2021, they were sold out everywhere. So I'm assuming only a very limited quantity were actually produced. So instead, I opted for this origami one. Now, if I had produced this calendar, you can bet that it would have actually had 365 pages. None of this combining weekends BS. So you'd have actually ended up with 365 unique origami models. As it stands, there's only about 250. But as luck would have it, when I first sent Lisa the link for this calendar, I sent her the 2020 version. And trusting me, assuming I know what I'm doing, she clicked the link and bought it. So my hope is that they didn't cheap out and just recycle everything from the 2020 calendar into the 2021 calendar, that between the two of them, there might actually be enough to make a full year's worth of unique origami models. Because since the beginning of this year, when I get into work and I take a few minutes to get ready for the day, I fold that morning's origami. So if you take anything away from this video, I really want it to be this, that having this little activity to look forward to and do in the morning has just been really great. Now, I like my job. I've never really dreaded going into work, but I'll tell you, as I'm getting ready in the morning and I remember, oh yeah, I get to do an origami when I get in, it really just raises my spirits and just makes the day better. And it's just fun. It's just a fun thing to do. So if you can do something like that, if you can inject a small little activity into your morning routine that can give you some joy, I highly recommend you do it. And that's pretty much it. I just kind of wanted to share this new activity with you. Now, if you are at all interested in seeing the models that I've done so far and following along as I make a new one each day, I created an Instagram account. And you can find a link in the description. Feel free to check it out if you are so inclined. But for the rest of this video, I just want to look at a few other models that I've done. We can talk about some of the rules that I've come up with, and I can fold this weekend's models. And that's kind of the first rule. So this calendar normally lives on my desk at work, and I work Monday through Friday, so I'm not there on the weekends. So on Monday, I do 3 models, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Now, as I said, they combine the weekend pages and there isn't a model on the weekend. It's just instructions for like a base model. So for those 2 days, I pull 2 models from the 2020 calendar. Now, unfortunately, they are sharing a lot of the same models. So if I get to one that I've already done, I just skip it and go to the next. And if I get to one that I did in 2020 before I got to it in the 2021 calendar, I still do it in that calendar just to do it as that day's model, but then I go back to the 2020 calendar and find a new model from there. And I'm just going to do that all throughout the year. So probably somewhere in October or November, I'm probably going to run out of models where there isn't enough unique ones between the two of them. And if that happens, I'm going to search out some third-party models because I really want to end the year with 365 unique models just covering my entire desk. Now, I was actually pretty big into origami when I was a kid. I had a whole bunch of books. I actually gave all those books to my cousin, but I scanned them all before I gave them away. So finding additional models shouldn't be too hard. But again, that's way down the year and future Nick can deal with that. Now, as for the quality of models, it's not too bad. There's been some pretty fun ones. Some are super simple and silly and kind of dumb, but others are pretty intricate. This dog, for example, was a bit of a challenge. There were a whole lot of Z-folds, and you can definitely see some of the stress on the paper where I really had to keep refolding before I could figure out how the fold was actually supposed to be done. This fish here might be one of the more challenging ones. It might not look like it, but the way that these fins are kind of on the outside and everything, this one was quite a bit of a challenge. And it's on a little paperclip stand. Since I'm doing this at the office and it's kind of like an office thing, I'm just using paper clips to make stands for a lot of the ones that really can't stand up on their own or look better if they're on a stand. Some of these are actually interactive. This one, this chirping bird, not sure what the actual name for it was. Yeah, that's what it was. Now, 250, that's an interesting number because if you know anything about weekdays, you know that there's 261 to 262 weekdays in a given year. So if they're just skipping models on the weekends, why aren't we at 260? Well, several models take multiple parts. This pantsuit, for instance, the shirt is one day's model and the pants are another day's model. I mean, that's hardly a model. Doot, doot. I made pants. But of course, they do finish off the pantsuit. But still. Now, take the executive desk toy. 6 days. There's 6 different parts to this model. But it did make me realize that if I really want to end the year with 365 unique models, I need to count these multiple part models as one model. So every day when I did 1/6 of this model, I went to the 2020 calendar to do an additional model to keep my count on track. Now, if you're at all wondering where the paper for the models is coming from, well, it's just printed on the back side of the instructions. So when you come in and you peel off yesterday's instructions, you just use that sheet of paper to do today's model. Now, one problem with this is when a model takes advantage of the white side of the paper, because normal origami paper is usually just white on one side. So in that case, you end up seeing the previous day's instructions in the model. And some models, it doesn't really matter. I mean, this crown might look better if it was all white, but the instructions are okay. But some models like this, where the white is really what allows you to see the orange heart, the instructions can be pretty distracting. And in that case, again, since this is kind of an office project, I just use some of this whiteout strip to white out the instructions, and that works pretty well. As you also may notice, some models don't have you use this paper. Some want you to use a dollar bill. Some actually just have you use a piece of printer paper because the model needs to be larger. And some have you use a tissue, a clean one, of course, but I don't know, I think these are kind of stupid. Now, when it does have you use a different sheet of paper, I still like making a version using the calendar paper just to kind of have it. And to make that a bit easier, I made myself a few templates. So cutting this out, for instance, gives me a piece of the calendar paper in a relative size to the dollar. And I have also one for an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So by cutting off this strip, this is the relative size of a piece of paper, just shrunk down proportionally. I also have a template for folding in thirds because I absolutely hate folding in thirds. And I hate any kind of ambiguous fold where it's just like, just fold it to around here. Because sometimes it can really mess up your model. But of course, that's kind of the art and skill of doing origami, I guess. But this little thing makes it quite a bit easier to get an accurate folding in thirds. Now you might notice a few models made from dollar bills. Well, I'll just say if any of my coworkers snag one, they're gonna be a little bit disappointed because they're just, well, technically counterfeit, I guess. But they're just printed on paper so that I don't ever have to, unfold one to buy myself a hamburger for lunch. So, I don't know, maybe in another 3 years, if we hit 10K, ad revenue will be lucrative enough to where I can just have my money folded into fun shapes everywhere. But yeah, those are just a few of the models so far and just some of the techniques and things that I've been doing and figuring out along the way. Another thing to note is a lot of times they'll draw little eyes and faces on some of the models. And I just copy it the way that they have it in the book. So for a lot of the ones that have eyes, I just printed some eye sheets and then just cut them out with like a hole punch and then just kind of glue them on there, and it just gives them a bit more personality. So as you can see, I'm just having so much fun with this, and it's just a few minutes in my morning, but it's then something I can see and look at all day long. Alright, so I have two models that I want to do for Saturday and Sunday. I have a dragon head here, which looks pretty cool, and I have a Frobel #1, which is either some old 1700s guy or a German Christmas star. I mean, this is St. Patrick's Day, and it kind of looks like a 4-leaf clover. I don't know, that's the model I got. So I'm going to do the dragon head first. And again, I'm using the previous day's instruction as the paper. And you can kind of see what they're doing. They're kind of teaching you a basic fold pattern, and then they can just reference it in one step on another page, just to kind of save some room on the instructions, which, whatever. I'd still rather have two separate models for Saturday and Sunday. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention it, but Lisa paid full price for the 2020 calendar at the end of the year. That should be criminal. You should not be allowed to sell a previous year's calendar at full price. I mean, I'd say it should come down like, 8.3% every month? So yeah, in December, it should have been like 91% off. At least half, at least 50% off. Anyway, we're a bit sour about that, but come on, calendar makers. I could talk quite a while about these calendars. I have quite a bit to say, from sharing models and laziness in the instructions and bad instructions to plain out wrong instructions. Like there's a bit on the pantsuit where this fold, that's not possible. That doesn't exist. There's material there that's not right. What's going on? Oh, and like this moth. This is a pretty easy model. I was almost stumped. I almost couldn't finish it because I just couldn't figure out what in the world they wanted me to do. A simple pinch icon down here, just a little pinch, would have cleared it all up. I mean, get it together, page a day origami calendar. I expect better, especially having to pay full price for a useless calendar. But I digress. This is a fun, relaxing morning activity. Anyway, let's make our dragon head. I'm also scanning each morning's paper, so if I ever need to reference the instructions that I've used in a model or just want to make it again, I still have it, so. There we go. That was pretty easy. I think I have some dragon eyes. all right. And then to stick them on, I just use a good old glue stick. And I also use a glue stick whenever I need to get a piece to stay in place or do something that I wanted to do. I don't know if that's cheating when it comes to origami, but my rule is I have no issues against using glue sticks or tape just to get a model to do and look the way I want it to. Well, there it is. Looks pretty cool from the side, kind of derpy straight on. But yeah, that's a cool model. Sunday, which would have been perfect for St. Patrick's Day, which in 2020 was St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day this year was like a church model or something like that. Well, there it is. That was a little tricky, but not too bad. But this is definitely a good example of, you can see how distracting all of the instructions and the printing on the back side can be. So you're almost better off just using like a different sheet of paper or just printing your own paper. But I think we can probably white that out. So I'm actually going to unfold it so I can white it out a bit easier. But I'm first just gonna mark with a pencil the areas so I can remember and see. There we go. I definitely think that looks better. Obviously, paper with a blank backside would look the best, but again, in the spirit of it being an at the office project and just using office supplies, I like it. And I definitely like gluing it down just so that it looks the way it's supposed to. So those are two pretty cool models. Now, it's one thing to be able to follow instructions and fold some origami models, but it's something else entirely to just make a model. Like the people that design these in the first place, how do you come up with it? Like, how do you figure it out? Is it literally just sitting with a piece of paper and just playing with it? I mean, like, I don't really know much about origami. I just know how to read the instructions and make the little shape look like the thing in the picture. So I want to try and make my own thing. Just something very simple, something I think I can do, something in this style where we're just using the white side of the paper or the colored side of the paper to make a shape. I'm gonna give it a quick little play. Well, it's not too bad. I'm sure there's definitely ways to improve it, and the backside's pretty hideous, but there we go. It's my 3-year, 5,000 subscriber origami play button. So if you've never done any origami before, I certainly hope you give it a try, and I can definitely recommend adding a small fun activity to your morning routine. But my sincere thank you for watching, for 5,000 subscribers, for 3 years. Once again, I am Nick D. Clements. If you're wondering, Nick is short for Nicholas, and the D stands for Dapper. Anyway, I'm off to make something else.